Hello, my name is Karen Bagwell. I'm the CEO and founder of Safe Night Ministries for domestic violence victims. I'm very passionate about our ministry because I am a domestic violence survivor. About 2.5 years ago, God started showing me things about that situation for the women in our rural communities here. There were no resources for domestic violence victims. The home had shut down. There was nothing basically. And this played over in my head continuously. I prayed about it very often. One morning about 3 o'clock, I woke up and I was walking through my house praying about this. And I was like, God, what would you have me to do? And I went to my knees, and he reminded me of a time that I was in my abusive relationship and I was afraid to go home that night. I was scared. And I took all the money I had out of my purse and I got a hotel room for the night. And I felt him saying to me, can you do this for them? And I said, yes, Lord, I can do this. And that's basically where our ministry started. It was a rescue operation. We would put women that were in danger in a hotel room. We would feed her, we would clothe her, and we would make a plan with her about safety. Just let her talk and empower her to make a plan to be safe. That would usually entail calling all of the shelters within the state of Arkansas, Batesville, Mountain Home, Harrison, wherever, and finding her a place that would actually be able to take her. We would then transport her. This was very heartbreaking to us and to these women that were having to leave. They were invested in our community. They worked here, some of them. Their kids were actually in our school system, but they had to leave and go so that they could be safe. Soon after we started this process, I wanted to learn more. I needed education on how to help these women. So I actually started touring some of the homes, went to Batesville, that women's shelter. We talked about many things, and they did help me with education. But I asked them about support groups, and they told me that their support groups aren't really very well attended. They said that women that are in this situation don't usually show up for things like that. They just want to stay to themselves. They don't want to go into any kind of group situation. I really felt like God was leading me to do that anyway. So we did start the support groups, and they are so successful. They are wonderful. We have over 20 women that actually attend these. We've had to separate into two groups actually to be able to accommodate all the ones that come to this. During the support groups, we actually have a meal that's paid for. They can come in and eat. They can bring their kids. We have childcare for them during this time so that they can just actually learn and bond with each other. They're really awesome. They are. It was during these support groups that we actually begin to learn what would help them the most going forward, how we could keep them from going back into the abusive relationships that they had been in the past, or they were leaving now. And they just started telling us basically what it was they needed. Uh, that's how we actually started the outreach. We started that in response to the things they told us they needed. They told us that when they leave, basically they don't have anything. Some of them were living in buses, some in cars, some in trailers and houses, but without utilities, without water, things like that. Our outreach that we have opened has showers where they can come and shower, their kids can shower. We have all the personal care items they need to use. We have a washer and dryer where they can wash their clothes and have fresh laundry. We have non-perishable foods that we can send home with them until we can get them on a food stamp program. We have lunch every day that we're open so that they can come and they can eat lunch that day when they come, and they're assured of a good meal that day. But the best thing of all about the outreach, I think, really is the emotional and spiritual support that is given to each woman that comes through the doors. We have Christian advocate volunteers that are here. They will sit and talk to these women, or more importantly, let them talk. And they will do Bible studies with them. They give them a blessing scripture to take home with them for each day. They go through all of the resources that we have within our communities, and they see which ones would best fit these women that are coming in, and they will actually sit and help them do the application and help them get it to the appropriate person. They do orders of protection and safety plans with the women that need those. And that's a big blessing in our area, because what happens here is they go to the courthouse to get that. They get all the paperwork and they're overwhelmed. And so many women just never do it, or they do it incorrectly. So the advocates actually sitting down with them and helping them to do that has just been a wonderful blessing. And that's happened a lot of times where they were actually able to get that. So many people ask us, why don't they just leave? Why don't they just leave? Why do they stay there? Sometimes they'll even say things like, well, they must like it. I assure you that they don't. And there are so many reasons why they don't leave, and each person is an individual. But I want to share with you a scripture that God showed me. It's Psalms 126, 5 through 6. Those who plant in tears will harvest with shouts of joy. They weep as they go to plant their seed, but they sing as they return with the harvest. That sounds really good, it does. But this was written of the Israelites when they were being released from captivity in Babylon. What we have to remember about these women that are being released from these abusive relationships, during the time that they were in captivity, no one was sowing seed for them. They're leaving this one place that is horrible, and they're striking out into nothing. Most of them have nothing. They don't have a home. They don't have all the things that we take for granted every day. Some of them actually leave just with the clothes on their back, and they're thankful to get away. They're very thankful and they're very joyous about this. But the situation is still dire. They have nothing. So if they don't have that support in the community through our outreach or wherever they can get support, if they don't have that, they're much more likely to go right back into the same situation because they don't know what else to do. If you have a hard time having compassion for the women of domestic violence, I know that's a cultural thing too, and people do feel differently and sometimes don't understand. I do ask that you consider the children that are growing up in these abusive relationships and watching what mom and dad do. They're getting an ideal that that's a normal occurrence, that that's something that is supposed to happen. These children that are growing up in these situations, the little boy is much more likely to be an abusive husband when he grows up because of what he saw. And the little girls are much more likely to be abused because they see that as a normal thing. They saw mom and dad do that. And also, please consider the pregnancy complications. These women are prone to so many complications in pregnancy because they live under so much stress. They have a lack of prenatal care, they have low birth weights, and even the death of the fetus due to physical violence. Our safe house is actually done. We have the construction done. We have the safety systems all in place. We are now furnishing that house, and we will be opening it sometime this year. Our hopeful time is September. We're searching for grants all the time. We're looking for ways to find those. We have plans to open a resale shop when our funds are available to be able to do that. I do want to mention we were on KITH recently, And we had shared with the reporters that we were looking forward to being able to get the staffing grants from the government this year. They're called BOCA. And when they contacted us in April and told me that we would not be able to apply again this year because the government did not have enough funding to let new entities like us. One of the reporters mistakenly said on the news that we had lost government funding, but that's not how it happened. We actually never had that to begin with, so we've not done anything to actually lose our funding. We just never had it. I really feel like if you could see what I see every day, if you could see the impact that we're having on these women and on their children, I have no doubt you would want to help us. This is why I wake up every morning and I'm excited each day to continue with this ministry. I just ask you to search your heart and see if you are able to help us at this time. You can contact us at our office, 870-955-5000. Our after hours line is 870-710-0122. Our address is 2423 Highway 62, 412, Highland, Arkansas, 72542. Our Facebook page is www.facebook.com/Safe Night Outreach Center. I thank you so much and have a blessed day.